HasanAbi corporate. I don't even know what that is. Anyway, let's get back to American politics, though. Iowa caucus. That was a roller coaster of emotions. And now we're back to the
Want to get right to the
Iowa
results of the Iowa caucuses. First contest of the presidential campaign. Donald Trump won more than 50% of the vote. Ron DeSantis came in a distant second. Nikki Haley finished a close third. Rachel Scott already in New Hampshire, where the first primary is taking place in 1 week. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. And Donald Trump's victory in Iowa was so decisive, he got more support than Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis combined. But now all the focus turns right here to New Hampshire, where those candidates have just days to prove that they can catch the frontrunner. Overnight, a record-breaking victory for former President Donald Trump, winning Iowa in a landslide.
The big night is going to be in November, when we take back our country, and truly, we do make our country great again.
Trump's 30-point win, the largest for any Republican candidate in a contested Iowa caucus.
I want to congratulate Ron and Nikki for having a good time together. We're all having a good time together.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis staked his entire campaign on the state, coming in a distant second, but edging out former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley.
In spite of all of that they...
Why are libs on social media saying last night was an L for Trump? Copium. Copious Maximus. They are on the maximum amount of copium that one can have while still not dying. They want this to be like a major... I guess they want this to be like a major L for Trump regardless, even though it clearly is not. This is a historic victory, as even other liberal outlets have basically reported on it. It's a historic dub. It is a ridiculous thing to suspect that this is like this massive dub is actually a fucking L for Trump.
They threw at us. Everyone against us. We've got our ticket punched out of Iowa.
Haley, who was betting on a strong finish to launch her into New Hampshire, falling short and into third.
Our campaign is the last best hope of stopping the Trump-Biden nightmare.
It was the lowest caucus turnout in 25 years. Those determined to show up, braving sub-zero life-threatening temperatures and dangerous driving conditions.
I already watched the Vivek speech.
But we persevere, and those who persevere to the end, they're going to win.
Iowa rarely picks the eventual Republican nominee, but the caucuses often narrow the field. Trump was quick to suggest it's time for his rivals to get out of the race.
We want to come together, whether it's Republican or Democrat or liberal or conservative. It would be so nice if we could come together and straighten out the world.
And moments later, one Republican did drop out. Entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, who drew attention for his brash style on the debate stage and embrace of conspiracy theories, suspending his campaign and endorsing Trump.
Earlier tonight, I called Donald Trump to tell him that I congratulated him on his victory, and now going forward, he will have my full endorsement for the presidency. And I think we're going to do the right thing for this country.
Trump did not stick around long to celebrate that victory in Iowa. In fact, he flew overnight to New York. He's expected to appear in court today in that defamation case involving writer E. Jean Carroll, the former president, splitting his time between the campaign trail and the courtroom. Robin.
And as you flew overnight there to be in New Hampshire, glad that you did. Thank you so much, Rachel. We're going to.
So I talked about this yesterday. One, the irony is not lost on me that Vivek ran a America is not a racist nation type campaign, and then literally had focus group results that showed that people were like, didn't his people do 9/11? I'm not going to vote for him. So that was one. I called it. Literally called it ahead of time, a mile away. Two, it bothers me how much you attack liberals. I love liberals. Hijacked by extreme leftists. I love liberals. I'm a liberal, man. I'm the most liberal. I'm a proud liberal myself. Headstone. Join me, brother, in our liberalism. Anyway, as I said, that Americans don't know how to be racist to someone like Vivek, like correctly racist to someone like Vivek. They, of course, did that, and they thought he was Muslim or whatever, and immediately did that shit, and he got 8%, obviously. This is why I also said that he was not getting, like, I mean, this is it. This is the average. This is the perspective of the average conservative, dude. Look at this. Look at this. They're just straight up doing like 7-Eleven memes. Nice, man. Guys, I'm shocked to find out that the Babylon Bee is racist. Why is conservative comedy stuck in the mid-2000s? Well, because they're not funny. It's kind of funny to see people in the reply say this wasn't cool. Yeah, I like that. Like, I like being like a Republican guy. Okay. I like being a Republican guy and then posting this like, sweaty. Maybe the best time to delete this post was immediately after posting it. It's like, bro, you're racist. Like, what do you mean? Who do you think your allies are? You sure you watched the Trump and Vivek speech? Oh, they did a joint speech? I didn't realize. Okay, got it. Sweaty, maybe you should delete this. It's like, bro, you're a Republican. Like, what are you talking about? This is what the base wants. You don't get to use K-pop memes and talk about how problematic a right-wing content creator is.
To bring in our political director, Rick Klein, to break down the results for us. Good morning, Rick.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. This was an absolute blowout, a romp across the state, whether it was urban, rural. It almost didn't matter when it came to Donald Trump. He won 98 of Iowa's 99 counties. In fact, the only one he lost by a single vote. So this was utter domination, and for him to get an absolute majority of the statewide vote is stunning and a big surprise, blowing away the previous record. Now, the battle for second, Ron DeSantis captured it, but very, very narrowly. He needed this kind of showing. A little bit of a disappointment for Nikki Haley, but it's worth pointing out, Robin, that we're talking about a very small turnout. Only about 110,000 people showed up in Iowa, way off the record, way off even where all the predictions had been. And as the candidates head to New Hampshire, it is a much bigger electorate and a much different electorate. A lot more independent voters. Big opportunity still for Nikki Haley, who's been close in the polls to make the race in New Hampshire at least closer, if not actually challenging Donald Trump. George?
Rick, as you pointed out, 110,000 people, far smaller than a congressional district. But at least among these conservative Iowa voters, Trump has bent them to his views on the 2020 election.
Yeah, this is stunning. Out of our entrance polls of caucus goers, 2/3 of people who voted yesterday on the Republican caucuses said they don't think that Joe Biden legitimately won the election. And another 2/3 of those same voters, caucus goers, think that President Trump would be fit to serve in office even if he's convicted. And remember, Trump got about 51%. So this means that even people that voted against him yesterday still think that he would be fit to serve as president even if he is convicted of crimes.
I mean, none of this is shocking, right? I think all of these voters are evangelical Christian morons. Yeah. Do you think low turnout affected Trump's margin? Only the highest motivated show up for primaries. You got to be a zealot to come in through that cold. I mean, sure. But also, it was consistent with polling in general. Think about that. Aren't you a bit of a hypocrite when you advocate for felon voting, but not felon presidents? It's a pretty funny question that you just asked because I'm 100% on board with felon presidents. I've actually never, funny you should say that. I've actually never said that someone who is a felon shouldn't run for president. I actually have said the exact opposite for those of you who don't know. I know that guy was trolling, but it is actually one of the things that I think is very cool about America is that despite being in prison, you can still run for office. It's actually the other way around. I don't like that you can't vote while you're in prison. So definitely a fan of that. Obviously, one of the most famous examples is Eugene V. Debs, famous socialist leader who ran from prison and got, I think, a couple million votes. It was pretty wild way back in the day. But, oh no, as a bros. Hutchinson's ending his 2024 campaign. Oh no, it's so sad. All right, let's skip that. I don't want to talk about that. I don't give a shit. Okay, I can't even fake being interested in that right now. So here's the situation, folks. Again, talked about this last night, but Nikki Haley is actually kind of cooking in New Hampshire. She's actually within single digits in New Hampshire. That's a huge deal. Nikki Haley is mothering extra hard in New Hampshire. Now, of course, there's nothing that comes close to the New Hampshire margins. with the rest of the states. Every other state is super aggro pro-Trump. So my suspicion is that Nikki Haley, great performance. If she had gotten second place for sure, I do think that she would have done even better in New Hampshire. But even if she gets first place in New Hampshire, it's so Jover for everybody else. However, I suspect my speculations on this election cycle. Number one, you know the world is fucked when you're rooting for Nikki Haley. I don't root for Nikki Haley. I mean, I jokingly say she's Nikki Slaley. Suspicions. Speculations. Number one, the reasonable pick for Donald Trump would be to put Nikki Haley as his VP. He needs a woman. Nikki Haley is an old school Republican, and overall, she spells, being moderate. She knows how to message. And the Koch brothers have started. The Koch brother has now lended his support to Nikki Haley instead of Ron DeSantis. So it'll be very similar to a Michael Pence type situation. Mike Pence was the Koch brother guy. Yes, I know Kristi Noem is another possible choice. I think that the fun one would be Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as I stated yesterday. The fun one would be the RFK ticket. The Trump Kennedy ticket will go super hard. Reach across the aisle, look at me, yada, yada, yada. It'd be pretty cool. Don't know if he would do that, though, but it would be kind of funny. Because, RFK, especially in New Hampshire, low-key, RFK is, I think he's cooking a little bit as an independent. What do you think about a sleeper Tulsi Gabbard VP pick? No. Your VP pick has to balance out your campaign. Tulsi Gabbard is a non-entity and completely irrelevant.
Turn to Kristen Welker, moderator of Meet the Press, and Steve Kornacki, our national political correspondent. We love the duo so much. Yesterday, we're back for more. Okay, not a lot of suspense at the top of the ticket.
No, Carrie Lake is a loser. No, you're wrong. Carrie Lake is a fucking loser. You are wrong. If you think that he's going to pick Carrie Lake, you're wrong. Kristi Noem, I agree, could happen. But if you think that Carrie Lake is going to happen, you're wrong. Trump knows a loser when he sees it. She's washed as hell. And so is Tulsi Gabbard. It's not happening, folks. Not going to happen. All right, let's see what this announcement.
Show us how big a blowout this was, though, for the former president.
Yeah, a couple ways to look at it, Savannah. I mean, first of all, the 51% that Donald Trump ends up with, that is a record in the Iowa caucuses. The previous best was 41%. And the margin here, it's basically 30 points, Trump to DeSantis. The previous best was 12 points. So he substantially improved on what we've seen historically. Look, Trump improved, obviously, across the board. The biggest improvement, evangelical voters. He lost them double digits in 2016. He swamped DeSantis and Haley among them. The one interesting nugget here, I think, look, 99 counties in Iowa. You see that Trump red all over this. There's one county that Trump didn't win. And I want to show you how close Trump came to go in 99 for 99. Check this out. One vote. Wow. One vote in Johnson County, and if it had flipped, Donald Trump would have won there, and he would have gone 99 for 99.
What's so fascinating about this is if you look along.
ABC has canceled the New Hampshire debate. That's so funny. ABC cancels New Hampshire debate after Haley and Trump declined to participate. That's hilarious. If Trump declines to participate, then there's no reason for Haley to be there. And Ron DeSantis is a fucking loser, polling at literally almost Vivek Ramaswamy levels. Think about that. We looked at the New Hampshire numbers. We looked at the New Hampshire numbers. Nikki Haley is basically within striking distance of Trump, closest that anyone's ever gotten in any state. Meanwhile, Nikki Haley, no, not Haley, Nikki Haley, also known as Cunt Mother. She is within striking distance of Donald Trump, and she is currently, she could technically win. Who knows? I mean, New Hampshire, she could win if some crazy things happen. In New Hampshire, I mean. Doesn't mean she's going to win it all. Trump's going to clear the rest of the primaries, but I don't know if straights are allowed to say cunt mother. Well, I'm saying it anyway because I'm actually a Slaley head myself. So
long time ago, 1 year, Trump had a lot more seeming political vulnerability. It looked like some Republicans were looking for an alternative. What a difference a year makes.
They definitely were, and it's easy to forget this, but call this up. This is a line graph of the support for the candidates going back to the start of 2023. And you remember at the start of 23, Republicans had that bad midterm. The Trump-aligned candidates cost them key races. You had Ron DeSantis in some cases within 10 points of Trump nationally. That's why all these candidates emerged. They thought Republicans were moving on. Here's where it diverged. Trump's line went up. DeSantis's went down. Do you know what happened that week? That week, first week of March 2023, Trump was indicted for the first time in New York on the Stormy Daniels matter. It clearly brought a rally around Trump effect to Republicans.
4 indictments and the trajectory goes up, and maybe that's why we see him.
I disagree with, I hate to do this, but I disagree with my beautiful boy, Steve Kornacki, the khaki. I can't believe I'm saying this. This rarely ever happens. I bookmarked it earlier. He makes it, I think he hyper focuses too much on the shift. Here is Steve Kornacki, the khaki, saying, I don't think I buy the Trump status as a former president made his landslide and current very strong position inevitable. When the race began in late 22, early 23, polling with ours was shaky, and he even trailed DeSantis in some. Republicans were really rattled by the 22 midterm. In that period, there was much talk that our voters were tired of him, starting to see him as a general election drag, looking for new options, etc. Recall how the New York Post treated his campaign announcement as a triviality. Florida man makes announcement with a cheeky 26-page, page 26 story. The shift came abruptly, a clear rally around Trump effect among GOP voters when the news of the first indictment broke in March 23. I don't think that it was because the news broke of the first indictment. You want to know what I think it is? Any of you know this already? This is a bit of I guess this is my only specialty. Media. Media coverage started ramping up around Trump. All of a sudden, people were hearing from Trump. All of a sudden, they weren't just getting Trump's perspective from Truth Social if they were crazy enough like us. That's what actually banged. Simultaneously, Ron DeSantis started getting more media coverage as well at the same time frame, and that played really poorly into little Rhonda. Don't you think that the media ramping up around him has to do with the indictments? It absolutely does. It does. But the rally around the flag effect did not come from him being attacked by liberal institutions like the criminal justice system. It was simply an inevitability if you put Trump on camera. If you put Trump in front of the hogs, they are going to, no matter what, they're going to go, that's my goat. They're going to be like Nick Merckx talking about Ron DeSantis. They're going to say, that is the goat. That is my goat. And that's precisely what happened. The worst thing you can do to Trump is ignore him. The worst thing you can do to Trump is not cover him. This, the Florida man makes announcement, is the worst thing you can do to Trump. Wait, was I right? Is he doing it? Is he doing it? Oh, he's doing it. Oh my God. Okay. He's doing it. Anyone listening to Nikki Nimrata Haley's whacked out speech last night would think that she won the Iowa primary. She didn't. Dude, I'm so good at being a Republican commentator slash. I literally just give me a Republican campaign, dude. I will run the table. None of this dumbass Christopher Rufo, like, let's. Okay. None of that works. This, I told you. Motherfuckers want to say your speculations are always wrong, but it's this shit day in and day out. I'm the hog whisperer, baby. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I think if it was me and Felix, Chapo Felix, we could literally Karl Rove this shit. I think we would unironically do a better job at doing media campaigns for Republicans than like whatever they have in the docket. Straight up. This is why I always say, people always say, Hasan, you're a grifter. Hasan, you're a grifter. It's like, dude, I would make a fucking killing on the GOP side, okay? They have zero unironically charismatic individuals that do politics for them. Are you fucking kidding me? They have Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, and Tim Pool and Steven Crowder. You really think I would not be able to destroy the conservative ecosystem? Holy moly, dude. God, my right-wing heel turn will be glorious. Thank you for your blessings. Yeah. I not only would I be popping, I would also have zero annoying shitheads that present themselves as right-wing, because the right-wing falls in line, baby. Oh, the right-wing falls in line, okay? You would have every Deborah eaten out of the palm of your hand. Yeah, I just like... DeSantis started nosediving and media started catching all of DeSantis' sweaty loser moments. Yeah, the bar is super low, Dennis Miller. Exactly. There's just no competition. What I was going to say is, like, they don't fight. They don't do any, like, the petty infighting. Steven Crowder is the only guy who got ripped for it. And beyond that, you don't ever see that. Can't wait for the why I left arc. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. They meant gifter. I said gifter. God damn. I think you're a gifter, Hasan. Thank you for your blessings. Anyway. Told you. He's hitting her with the Nimrada. I saw Twitter comments guessing they're secretly Republican because you like guns. Oh, yeah. That's why I advocate for everything against Republicans. I advocate to throw Republicans in jail on the virtue of wrong think. All right, let's continue.
In courtrooms as much as the campaign trail, it's working for him. Kristen, let's talk about this race. Let's talk about DeSantis and Haley. Both are saying they got tickets out of Iowa. Haley's saying it's a two-person race now. I think DeSantis might disagree. What is their path, if there is one at all?
We're talking about very narrow paths here, if at all. For Nikki Haley, it was going to go through New Hampshire. You're absolutely right. That second, third place finish, tight as a tick, Savannah. But Nikki Haley's trying to say, look, this is a victory, but she's been deprived of that momentum that she was looking for. Even when she gets to New Hampshire, who are her supporters there? Moderates, independents. That's not necessarily a winning coalition to win the nomination, because as Steve just laid out, look at who put Trump in the winner's slot in Iowa. In terms of Ron DeSantis, yes, he's stopping in South Carolina. But, Savannah, it's not clear that he can win South Carolina or New Hampshire, because guess who has the lead there? Donald Trump. Yes, Nikki Haley's within striking distance.
Are you guys ready? My controversial opinion that everyone might yell at me for is that in the 2016 election, more moderates than you realize, or more people that fancy themselves to be independents and moderates than you realize, voted for Donald Trump. Obviously, there were also a shit ton of super racist people. But by this point, you have to understand by this point, you have to comprehend that, like, people pick and choose what they hear. People pick and choose what they want to hear. So many of them thought Trump's an outsider. What is there to lose? Who gives a shit? I don't like Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is an elitist institutionalist, and I despise that. I'm going to try. Super racist people. So you mean average American moderates? Okay, there's that too. Even on Twitch, centers like Trainwreck and Asman were openly Trump voters. Wait, really? Yeah, get out the race and gender voting breakdowns. Not controversial. Anyway, that is so far from controversial. Milk toast take, brother. Everybody else, brother. I interviewed a Yemeni dude, and they're literally calling the State Department to assassinate me via drone strike. I think my framework is a little bit busted from like what my haters operate like. Okay, yeah, that's why I clarified it heavily. Like, I have to pre-qualify everything, even if it's like a super moderate take. People are literally doing the at FBI, please arrest this man shit.
Of Trump in New Hampshire, her very narrow path just got narrower, and it's still not clear where Ron DeSantis goes from here.
The map doesn't get better for either one of them as the primaries go forward. Let's talk about Trump and his messaging last night, because he was quite magnanimous. Seemed to be wanting to say, kumbaya, it's time to put down our swords and get together and rally around. This thing's done.
That may have been the one word he didn't use, kumbaya, because he was basically praising his rivals. When was the last time we heard that? He dropped his nicknames for them. He said it's time for this country to come together. His tone may have been the other big headline that came out of that big Trump win last night. So here's what to watch for. Watch for Republicans to start to consolidate more around him. We saw that in the days leading up to Iowa. Doug Burgum, for example, Marco Rubio have endorsed him. Expect to see a whole lot more of that, obviously, Vivek Ramaswamy as well. And then, as we've been saying, he's going to be back in court today because he thinks that is an effective way at campaigning, at rallying Republican voters around him.
All right, Kristen and Steve, thank you. Grab a nap.
Another hot take from HasanAbi. I think the candidate that receives the majority of the votes is going to win this one. Guys, I'm a bit of a brilliant... I am what political analysts call a savant, a bit brilliant. And, not to say, hate to say it, but I did say that Trump was going to win the Iowa caucus, which was very hard to see, apparently. Yeah, bit of a Nostradamus type situation there. It is what it is. I'll take my roses.